Weirdly enough, there's pressure on the offense as they host ULM this weekend.
You are Locked On Auburn, your daily podcast on the Auburn Tigers. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Yes, welcome on into Locked On Auburn, your daily Auburn Tigers podcast. I'm your host, Zach Blackerby, and thank you so much for making Locked On Auburn your first listen every single day. It's a War Report Wednesday. Mike G of the War Report hanging out with us. We'll discuss our expectations for Saturday. But, Mike, there's weirdly pressure on the offense going into this game against ULM, coming off of a bye week and then off of a loss against Vanderbilt where your offense scored 7 points. It's ULM. It's a lesser opponent. You know, Hugh Freeze earlier in the week said they're not overlooking anybody. Said he learned that the hard way, whatever. There's a lot of pressure on the offense to perform, I think, this weekend.
There's a ton of pressure, and I think that pressure mirrors the pressure that they're feeling here at the end of the season because they're a 3-win team in November.
Yeah.
I can't believe we're having this conversation again, twice in 3 years about them being a 3-win team going into November. This is not where I think a lot of fans thought Hugh Freeze would be in his second year. And look, you and I have belabored the points about, system and play calling and all these things. But the bottom line is you just have to win games. You've got to win games and you've got to stack W's, and you've got 3 opportunities left this season to do that. You've got to start on Saturday. And I think the pressure extends beyond winning, and it extends to getting the ball to your playmakers and to your young freshmen, because he's got to re-recruit this roster at the end of the season. And I'm worried, Zach. I'm worried about Perry. I'm worried about Cam. And I'm worried about some of these young guys that came in 2024, that this thing fell so far below the floor of where they thought Auburn would be and where they could be in this system in year one, that they might consider other options. And there are a lot of programs that will take them. So I think that this game is the beginning of that maturation process for them, and for Hugh Freeze to show them, what they are going to be in this offense moving forward.
Yeah. He's talked about this at certain points of the season about shrinking the playbook, almost asking less specifically of the quarterback position, just so they can run what they have in the game plan at a higher level, which makes sense. And we're seeing them run, the same play multiple times. And, if it works, it works, whatever. I think a lot of this has to do with confidence in what you're running and what you're calling and the communication between everybody, more so than, what the actual game plan is. I just think the execution hasn't been there. And it does seem to be kind of a different problem every game, which is frustrating. And that's kind of my thing of I don't think a quarterback change fixes everything. It might cover some stuff up. Maybe it may make things worse. Who knows? Because I think it's more than just the quarterback, and it's so easy to pile on one specific player. But to me, I've said it over and over and over again, the system of the offense is broken, and you can't rebuild the entire offense over a bye week, or they would have done that already during the first bye week.
Zach, I was on that train last year. That's what I thought last year. Okay. And going into the season, when you and I had the ceiling conversation and I said 7-5, I didn't feel like Auburn had 7-5 talent, but I was worried about this. I had not seen from this coaching staff that they had a 9 to 10 win system, even if that's what the talent would afford you. And so here we are in year 2, and boy, was I wrong. I may have been right about the ceiling, but boy, was I wrong about the floor. I thought the floor was 6-6, though. I don't think anybody foresaw this. And here we are. Look, the talent conversation is, to me, it's ridiculous that we're having this conversation about system in year 2. You hired an offensive head coach, and two things can be true at one time. I think that Auburn needs to find a way forward with Hugh Freeze in year 3, but you can also call this out for what it is and just say, look, this is a disaster of a year 2. This is an absolute disaster of year 2. And in year 1, Zach, we hung our hat on recruiting and said, but look at all the talent that he's bringing in, and you got to give him time to get with these recruits. His results in year 2 may shorten that time frame for him. And that's a tough place to be, right? He's got 5 recruiting class together. Deuce was visiting Ole Miss over the weekend. What's going on, man?
Yeah, I'm not as worried about the Deuce Knight situation as a lot of people are. I'm not there quite yet. If this still is happening in a few weeks, then I think it's certainly worthy of concern. But I'm just not quite there yet on the Deuce.
I think that's why Saturday's important, right? I think that's why I think Saturday's an important game.
Yeah, no, I 100% agree with that. I 100% agree with that. As far as the game plan, and we can guess who's going to play quarterback or not, but as far as how you want them to attack ULM, what are you expecting? What are you expecting to see?
Hand the ball to Jarquez. Wait, who's the quarterback on Saturday? Is Payton? Is he hurt? Is he not? He's kind of said that he expects to be ready. Hugh Freeze has said that we've had reports about his shoulder. There seems to be some conflicting reports out there. I think that what you said earlier, Zach, about them shrinking the offense, and that's all been about the limitations at quarterback.
Yeah,
I think we can agree. Like, that's been about, we feel like we can only run this portion of the offense. And I've asked Hugh Freeze about this multiple weeks in the press conferences, and after the third time he told me maybe we'll shrink it again. I'm like, man, buddy, how this is too much shrinkage to have a good time. So I think at the end of the day, we have to look at that and say, look, man, you've got to find a version of this offense that you can run more of with whoever's the quarterback. And if it's Hank, then okay, man, let him run it. I thought that they made a mistake not giving Hank all of the Arkansas game to grow up. I thought that was a huge mistake. And you lost the game anyway. And yes, Payton came in and played better for that half. But this is a fourth-year guy. This is a fourth-year starter. Hank deserved that game. And now he's going to get ULM. And if he plays well, does he get Texas A&M? Or do you go back to Payton when he feels good? I have so many questions about how they're going to manage this down the stretch on Saturday.
Yeah,
we want to see him get the ball to Jarquez, but got to throw the ball some.
Yeah, that is an interesting dynamic of if Hank starts on Saturday because Payton's shoulder's not quite there, then what do you do if he's fine the following week? I mean, sadly, I don't think this conversation is going anywhere, which is frustrating to say the least. So we'll see what they do. But yeah, I'm with you. And not just Jarquez Hunter. I think you give it to Damari. I think you give it to Jeremiah. And you let these running backs that we talked so much about this offseason, give them a shot. Give them a shot to carry a larger load.
Jarquez should run for 200 yards on Saturday. Easy. Give him the ball 20 times. Mix the other guys in, manage the game. This is his last year of college football. We owe it to him to get him over that 1,000-yard mark in his final season and help him with his draft stock. Auburn's fate, I think, is sealed this season. I don't think they're making a bowl game, Zach. I don't see them winning out the last.
Oh, I mean, games. If they did make a bowl game, that would be an incredible story, right? I mean, you talk about the momentum that you would carry going into the offseason. That would be insane.
Yeah,
but
that's wishful thinking.
Yeah, and there's some situations where a 5-7 team goes because there's more bowl games than there are 6-6 teams most years. But right now, I have a hard time seeing what that fifth win is. Just being honest, if you told me Auburn is one of the teams that could go 5-7 and get a bowl berth, I'm still you got to beat A&M at home. That'd be great. That would be awesome.
On the road, it would be great. It would ruin their season. It might knock them out of the playoff.
Yeah, it probably would. It probably would. So, they got a chance to play spoiler for sure. Expectations for Saturday. That's next, right here on Locked On Auburn. Today's show brought to you by our friends at FanDuel. FanDuel's America's #1 sportsbook. Mike G. Right now, the Auburn Tigers a 23.5-point favorite against UL Monroe. It was 24.5. It's sliding down a little bit.
Okay.
I kind of got a hunch it might slide down another point or two closer to kickoff. I think 23 points is a lot for this Auburn offense.
Yeah. I'm taking ULM in the points.
Yeah, I think Auburn wins this game by 17 or 20. I don't know if I'm ready to pull the trigger on 23.5. What do you think?
Yeah, I got ULM in the points here. Give me ULM to cover the spread.
Yeah. So we'll see. But hey, if you feel confident about that one way or the other, or want to check out all of FanDuel's incredible lines and props, go to FanDuel.com to join today. You can get started with $150 in bonus bets if you win that first $5 bet. That's over at FanDuel.com. Today's show is also brought to you by our friends at Game Time. Game Time has you covered. It's the best place to buy tickets. Mike G, whether it's for Auburn basketball or Auburn football, Auburn baseball is right around the corner. Auburn's women's basketball, they're playing well. Whatever it is, you can download the Game Time app, and you can see your seat directly from the app. That panoramic view, you know exactly what you're getting.
You do. And you know what? Auburn plays Kent State tonight in basketball.
That's right.
You're right. The top 5 Auburn Tigers play Kent State in basketball, and so it's a hot ticket right now. If you're going to Game Time to look for seats, you can see right there in Neville where you're sitting and what your view is. It's not a bad seat in Neville right now.
Yep, no question about it. So take the guess. We're going to buying tickets with Game Time. Download the Game Time app, create an account, and use code LOCKDOWNCollege for $20 off your first purchase. Terms apply. Again, create an account and redeem code LOCKDOWNCollege for $20 off. Mike G, what time is it?
Game time.
Yeah. Thank you so much for making Locked On Auburn your first listen every single day. For your second listen, go check out Mike G, Locked On UCF, his new venture. You're killing it over there.
Yeah,
Very fun stuff. Very fun stuff for sure. So, like as far as expectations for Saturday, we kind of hinted at it just a little bit with that FanDuel read there. Like, I think Auburn's going to win this game. I think they win it by double digits, but is it this dominant performance that would, I think, go a decent ways with the fan base, or is it just kind of one of those survive games? We get another win on the schedule, and let's see what we can do against Texas A&M. That to me is like, I want to see what the difference between those two things are.
Yeah, you're not buying any grace, I think, with the fan base with this win. It's because it's not what is it going to be? What is it going to signal for the future? Earlier we talked about if Hank plays well, could fans count on Hank to play versus Texas A&M? Well, we don't know the answer to that question, and so that is going to be an even bigger question mark, I think, after this game. Because Payton's not necessarily losing his job to poor play. It's just his shoulder is injured, and if it's better by the week of Texas A&M, do you play him? So you don't really take that away from that hope away from this game if you're a fan wanting a quarterback change. There's a fringe that are calling for Walker White. You mentioned my Locked On UCF venture. Well, guess what, man? Down in Orlando, their transfer didn't work out, and they just kept going until they got to this little kid named Dylan Risks, who's a redshirt freshman. He looks like
he's balling.
Johnny Manziel. Yeah. And so, there are fans here who are thinking, why not? Why not walk? You can't burn his red shirt at this point. Why not Walker White? Like, could it be worse than what we're seeing right now as far as the end result? I think there are some downsides to playing a young man too early, but should it be an option that's on the table? And are you going to come out of Saturday with that feeling, right? Well, let's say Auburn, let me paint a picture for you. Let's say Auburn blows ULM out, and it's the third quarter, and Auburn's up 28 or 35 or something. I don't think that'll happen, but let's just say that it does. Do you put Walker White in the game at the end and see if that young man, what he has, we haven't seen him yet in real game time action. You put him in and do you see what he has on Saturday, or do you just let Hank finish it out, right? And because what if you have to call on him? What if Payton's shoulder is hurt and God forbid Hank gets hurt? You're one play away from Walker White having to be your starting QB, and maybe that time, there's some things.
Do you think it would be him, or do you think it would be Holden? Everything that I've heard about Walker has been external. I haven't heard anything about Walker being next up or anything like that from anybody within the program.
Yeah, I don't.
And I don't know. Like, it could in that situation, you're like, well, let's try to, let's just try something, swing for the fences, and you put Walker in. Like, I don't know. I have no clue.
I think you got to look toward the future, and I don't think that Holden is your future. I think Holden Gerner is out of here. And what does playing him give you if you're a program?
I'm with you.
Right. So, you got to look toward the future. And I love Holden. I do. This is not the place for him. And I thought he should have left after last offseason. He decided to stay. I think he graduates in December. He'll be an
Sounded like the Auburn degree was important to him. It's kind of what I heard, which I totally get. I mean, we kind of forget that these people are people.
Yeah. He's an Auburn man through and through. And he's going to have that Auburn degree. But he's not QB1 here. And he's not going to be. So, does that? I don't know, man. I don't know that it's fair to Holden at this point. I just have so many questions about, where they go from here. So on Saturday, my expectation is hand the ball to Jarquez and get the ball to your playmakers in whatever fashion that is. That means Cam Coleman. I hope we see a little bit of Perry Thompson on Saturday.
Me too.
Honestly, I hope we see a lot of bit of Perry Thompson. Rotate those receivers and continue to get the ball to Keandre Lambert-Smith. He's been a dog for you all season. Don't pull opportunities from him now, right? And continue to feed Malcolm Simmons because he's proven himself to be a playmaker when he's had the ball in his hands. And try to figure out if there's some version of this offense, if there's a wider version of this offense that you can run with Hank in case you need him versus Texas A&M to be your QB1. Because this whole shrink the playbook thing is not going to work versus that Texas A&M team.
No, it's not. It's not going to work against Alabama either. Yeah. So, Mike G, how can people check out everything you've got going on? There's a lot of
it. Check me out over on Locked On UCF, baby. The Central Florida Knights are in a predicament similar to Auburn this season. And their coach is on the hot seat right now. But they've got West Virginia and Utah to finish out the season. The Big 12 is a complete drama show right now. And I'm having fun covering every bit of it. So please, if you're listening to this, go over there and subscribe to the channel. Help me get to 1,000 subscribers. I think we're just under 400 right now, Zach. And
quick.
4 weeks. Awesome. Yeah. So help me get to 1,000 Auburn fans. And also check me out at The War Report on every social media platform at Mike Gittens on Twitter.
Yeah, please like the video. Please subscribe. We'll see you next time. This has been Locked On Auburn.